What's happening, guys? Pikachu and I welcome you back to the Remotorcycle Garage. Stay tuned, should be a good episode. We're going to have a little look at this exhaust. So some of you have been following the progress of this Panther build throughout the summer. You know that I've made my own pie cut exhaust, which was quite an intense task, pushed me quite far out of my comfort zone. The most recent video was me TIG welding the whole thing together, which I guess relied a lot on back purging. It relied a lot on me discovering more about my TIG settings and just generally getting a bit more comfortable about how to weld stainless steel and just how to TIG weld in general. So this led to 3 pipes finished welded together, and I guess one thing that I didn't account for was how the pipes exit the bike. I always wanted them to exit 3 in a row underneath the bike. So seeing this little video, once you get to the end, I've already cut one of these pipes because I wasn't happy with how the last one was coming out, how the last exhaust pipe was coming out. It just didn't really go with the flow I was looking for. So what I need to do today is try and make sure I'm happy that I have all 3 pipes. I've not even got a third bit, but I kind of want them all equidistant and equal as they exit underneath the bike. Some of this is me being ultra pedantic, but also I want to be sure that I've got the opportunity to try and do the best job I can at getting these bits just looking right as they exit underneath the bike. So one of the things I need to do so one of the pipes is fine, it's perfect. It's the first pipe. It follows the line absolutely perfectly and it exits. What's that weird guy say again? Oh, it was just perfect. Yeah. Alan, no yard, sorry. Sorry, Alan, I really like your videos. And then the second one, so the pipes get a little bit more complex as we go from the outer cylinder into the far away cylinder. 1, 2, 3, I don't know what, I can't remember what number 1 is, but anyway, as we get further along we have to create space for the next cylinder. I'm just going to sketch this, it's going to make a lot more sense. So what I have done is done a quick sketch, for God's sake, right, done a quick sketch here. So if you can't tell, this is my exhaust. So this is the first one, kind of comes along and, shut this autofocus up. This thing comes along, exits underneath the bike. This one is perfect, I really like it. We'll show you a little snapshot of the bike in a minute. The second one, a little bit more complex, had to be slightly longer, the radius was just slightly bigger, and then it comes out here. This isn't amazing, as it sits right now, it kind of sits a little bit long, and it kind of throws you, because it looks as though it's a lot worse than it is. So, and then the last one was quite complex, because you had to kind of come out the cylinder, you kind of had to kick out the way a little bit to get past the kickstand mount. Had to work your way back to try and get a nice big enough radius that you could then come back and be in a line. And ultimately this is what we want them to look like when they exit the bike. We want a 1, 2, 3, we want the space in between it to be equidistant and everything else. There's a nice part on the frame that I would probably quite like to mimic that profile in the frame, if I can. Where I'm having difficulty is getting these distances equal, because these have all been welded up and they're pretty much fixed now, right? It's very difficult to say, well, if this space between these two isn't equal, what can you do? Well, you can either cut and shut and mend and everything else. So this is where I'm at, and it's quite complicated, and this is what I'm having to kind of work through just now. And then okay, so when I was welding all these together as well, because there was so many pie cuts, especially around this interval here, there's been some deformation in the metal, some shrinkage in the metal and movement in the metal, which now means that these 2 bits are actually touching. I've obviously drawn this as a line. These are obviously quite a bit thicker. They're tubing, so there's a bit which has caused these to be touching. If we go over to the bike, I don't know if we can actually kind of show you with that, which is not ideal. And then obviously, yeah, we're on the bike now. So this first one's really good, just perfect. I'm really chuffed with the way that looks, and I'm actually quite I like the distance between these two, which is about 1 chubby finger width between the 2 of them. Can't really complain at that. And So see how I was saying this comes through, this comes too far forward. I ideally would like all of these to be in line with this pipe here. So this comes too far forward. It's probably a little bit too high up as well. I'd like them to all be even. And then this one here is just a bit of a train wreck and we need to sort that. So I've got a few different ideas. We'll set up the camera at the desk and I'll try and talk you through my ideas for getting these all in a line. So I don't think this is an easy task at all. Actually, I think it's going to be a bit of a ball ache, and that's why I put it off for quite a while. Purely because it's not that I don't trust my skills, it's just that I can't really be asked doing it, although it needs to be done. We need to get this done to get the exhaust finished. We also need to start considering about how we're going to mount the exhaust, because right now it's only held on and bolted in at the front of the bike. So being able to get the positioning and everything how I want it, and having that fixed point, really getting that crossed off does help quite a bit. There's a few other bits going on in the bike. We've obviously got new, what do you call them? Got new yokes designed, and they'll be printed at the moment, so we'll do another update on them, because I know we saw the last episode, a link somewhere floating around. It wasn't the best. I made a massive boo-boo and messed up with my measurements. However, we're back on track with that, and we've got a new one printed, so we'll hopefully get some visibility in that in the next few weeks. But so I've not really got much else to do but look at this exhaust. So yeah, I think I had an idea to use some metal and cut 3 holes in it. So I'll follow the profile on the bike, and then I'll cut 3 holes. Christ, we use a pen that doesn't even fucking work. Right, that's complete bollocks. 2 seconds. I've got a there's a special place in hell for cheap batteries, and it's probably my own fault. I shouldn't bought them. However, so what I'm trying to say is, if I can cut out this template, feed my exhausts through it, then I know my first one and my second one are pretty much okay. My third one is a bit shit. My third exhaust is the one with the wonky bit that goes around the kickstand. I need to modify and cut and move that anyway, because I don't want the exhaust touching, because it's going to make that kind of noise when it's going, a horrible metallic sound. So that video, seen the person that's turned their Harley Davidson on, and then there's someone standing behind them hitting spoons, and he's having a listen, and he thinks it's the Harley. Oh god, what a practical joker. Anyway, I digress. So if I've got this template and my exhaust tubes, outlets are all lined up with this, then I'm pretty happy that all I have to do is modify the third pipe a little bit, whether I cut off a point at the radius, put another section in, twist, turn, do whatever I need to do, so long as I can be happy that it's all 3 are in a line here and they're not touching. I think that's all I can really do. And then I can then say, right, well, this is where they're going to be, I'm happy with how they look, and not for this video, I need to try and figure out how to mount them later on, but now I'm happy with how they look. All I need to do is tie them to the frame somehow, so I've got an extra point so they're not just wobbling around the entire time. So I hope this makes sense. I've kind of confused myself. I need to cut and shut this, is probably the most glamorous way to say it, and I haven't a clue how it's going to work. I've got some leftover pipe. I actually have some more somewhere, that little bit of the end pipe that I cut off. So we'll load up a good old fashioned metal montage with some hot new tunes I've been working on. Yeah, let's get started on that, and I'll try and keep you informed as we go along. Alright guys, let's do this! I know this is for wood, but I thought I would try and get away with it for my purposes, but I haven't, so I might actually make something out of thin plywood instead. Ta-da! I've got a bit of wood, so hopefully it cuts now that I've completely blunted that cutting blade. Let's see. I think I might scrap that idea because I've got another idea. This needs work anyway, this back piece. It's all a bit wonky and everything else, so I would like to try and get this to come out somewhere like there. And then what I need to do, and I make sure I have this same spacing and everything between this bit and this bit, so that's even. And then we'll just split the difference between the two, the final bit, and make that last bit come into play. I think that might be the best way of doing it, because this bit needs cut and moved anyway, so I think I'm going to do that. God, I hope this works. This middle pipe's obviously out the way. We've got a bit of clearance here, so what I really need to do, I think, is I want to cut down here and insert a wedge that will pull this back slightly. Just slightly. So I was kind of losing my shit there. It's the next day, by the way. I couldn't be bothered. It was going to take more focus than I had last night to get this video finished. So my tacks were a bit shoddy. It's been a while since I've touched the TIG torch, and probably shouldn't be doing it on something as crucial as this, but anyway, I digress. We've now got the two exhausts. The front, I've kind of changed my tact a little bit. Initially I was thinking I want to try and take them up the back of the bike, mimic that curve. In reality, I'm going to try and get all three in a row, because then it just means if I do want to have them following that curve, then I can put a kink somewhere in my exhaust further back in the system that brings it up. However, looking at the front and the last one, they look okay. I don't think they look that bad at all in a line. I actually think it looks quite good in a line. This is me being lazy. I can't be asked doing it. No, I think they look quite good in a line. I think there's always scope to cut and twist if need be. So as long as everything's true and parallel with each other. So I'm going to have a look at this middle one now. This was always a bit of an outlier. It's not been tacked anyway, so what I might just do is I'm going to just cut off where I think is a good point to cut off and twist it and tack it back on, and then we'll see what it looks like. But yeah, this is getting there, and I'm kind of glad it's starting to come together. I do need to weld them all together, but these are held in place with tacks at the moment, so I'm kind of happy with how it's looking. So let's get on with this last one, and I'll catch up with you guys in a bit. sounds really silly saying this out loud, but when you're doing all your fitting and measuring, if you're making one of these, if you're stupid enough like me to make one of these, bolt these really, really tight. Like, bolt them as though you're doing the final thing, because even if you leave it ever so slightly loose, that translates to quite a big difference by the time it gets to the back of the bike. So ask me how I know this. Okay, so we've now got this cut and back in place, and it's not, realistically I don't know whether I've cut it too much or not. You can see in the little pictures, it looks great, it looks bang on line, they're all in line with each other, which is nice. I think I'm actually going to leave it in a line, rather than try to dick around with trying to follow the curve of the frame. I think it probably looks quite good like this. So, I'm not going to do any final trimming until I've welded the whole lot together, because we know that the stuff can move. So I'm going to set up the purge, setup like before, try and get a bit more familiar with pigging the whole lot together again. Quite happy with how that's looking now though. Whether I leave them 3 coming out like that, whether I put any little radius on them and have like a 3 upswept or something, I don't know yet. So, but I'd rather get the whole thing welded together. The beauty is I still have options to do whatever I want, whether I want to leave it like that, whether I want to extend the pipes, whether I just leave. So we're just going to leave it like that. But in the meantime, I'm going to set up the purge system, get the whole lot TIG welded together, finalize, and then we'll do a final fit, and then we'll try and close out this video. So one last heavy metal montage. Come on guys, let's do this. Okay, so exhaust's on, bolted in, and just as what we thought would happen, obviously I planned this, it's moved with the shrinkage and warping and deformation that welding puts on the metal, and it's quite, it's not bad. Up close it's a little bit worse. However, the bit that I have cut now looks worse because for whatever reason it's pulled it in the way, so lesson learned for the future. I probably shouldn't have trimmed that until right at the end, but anyway, so I think, I don't know how well you can see this, it looks okay. I think in an ideal world this needs pulled down and that needs pulled up ever so slightly, but I think how I'll get around that is if I do with my mounting points, I'll need to try and tie these exhausts. I don't want them just supported at the front because they're just going to rattle around, which is not going to be ideal. So I need to try and figure out some kind of mounting system. I also probably need to figure out some kind of muffling system, and I've got a few ideas for that. I was going to go into the whole back pressure argument, but I've got a few ideas for that at the moment. But ideally I'd rather get these exhausts probably pretty much in place. My main concern is the way that I will put my muffling in is I was thinking of putting some internal mufflings where they're like half semicircles that just kind of go in the exhaust itself. I'll cut a slot and put these half semicircles in, slow down the airflow, therefore reducing the overall noise that these things produce. However, I'm not going to do that until I've got the bike running and everything else, so I can actually hear how loud it is and how obnoxious it actually is. A, because it will make some good videos, but this is going to get ceramic coated as well, so I'm half in the mind to grind all the pie cuts off, because for me the pie cuts aren't the feature of the bike. If you're asking me, I think they look alright, but I don't think they're as amazing as everyone maybe considers. So for me it was an experiment to try and get better at welding, and I think I've done that. Especially, I'm really quite chuffed as to how this has worked out. It's probably been the most difficult thing I've taken on fabrication wise and on a motorbike, so I'm really chuffed with how that's looking right now. Still not perfect, but it's getting there. So is that done? Maybe not. I might put some little bits on the end that kind of upsweep it and just, I don't know yet. I'll play around with a few different ideas. I'm not saying it isn't done yet, but it's in a damn sight better place than it was at the start of this video, and I'm quite chuffed with that. And quite a difficult, fiddly little task. Not really sure how I would do it differently if I was to do this again. I think I would probably, if I had a bench, it would make things a lot easier. I only got this after I'd started making the exhaust. I think if I had a bench, I would have been able to kind of visualize everything a lot better and make sure that those lines came into where they need to go. However, we didn't have that, so yeah, I think we're going to cut that video there. It's been quite a beneficial video for me. It's forced me to get out and do what is quite an awkward task that I didn't really want to do, but now I've done it, I feel another step forward in getting this beast rolling, beast roaring and going. I've toyed around with some perspex just in my front panel, which is pretty cool as well, which we can talk about at another time. I've also got my forks reprinted, so we'll get them soon as well. So project's moving slowly but surely. So yeah, let's just call that episode now. If anyone's got any questions, hit me up in the comments, send me a message on Instagram and whatever. If anyone wants these t-shirts and I've not got my ass together and put them online, I will. Don't worry, they'll be there. Let me know. Let me know any other merch ideas you've got. I've got a few things up my sleeve, but I'm always open to just try and design stuff as well in my spare time. So if anyone's got any merch ideas or anything they'd like to see, then let me know. I try to get some stickers and stuff sorted out, some good quality stickers that I can just send out and whatnot as well. So yeah, we're gonna call that one there, and I'm gonna get on with the rest of my Sunday editing the shit out of this video. So take it easy, guys. Have a good one. See you in the next video.